Ms. Rachelson, thank you very much for joining us so early in the morning to come and talk about this difficult issue, intractable, in fact. How do we change this whole situation?
In my mind, as you highlighted, women are making fantastic leaders. There's also mounting research that organizations that have female representation in senior management are more profitable. So I think we've moved beyond the debate that women in business is good. But when I reflect on Women's Month, and this happens every year, it's kind of a celebration of women. I think we need to change the message. It needs to be one, what are the opportunities we are creating for women in the workplace? And I think that requires a different slant from business in terms of asking some very fundamentally different questions. For example, what is the gender pay gap in our organization? If we are an inclusive organization, what are some of those institutional barriers?
Okay, can I just interrupt you?
Yeah.
Would company CEOs or leaders in companies be willing to share that kind of information? What is the gender pay gap?
Well, I'm not sure, but what I can tell you, quite interestingly, is that the gender pay gap in this country, accordingly, women should stop working on the 23rd of September of this year because that's what they're getting paid for. So the gender gap is real. Whether companies are measuring it is another story, but I'm asking companies to really start thinking about Women's Month differently. Start thinking about what they can be doing in the organization that creates more opportunity for women as opposed to just celebrating them.
How do they achieve that, Donna, when you have male leadership at the top? And the way I understand it, and I've been listening to these conversations, is that when a male figure is thinking of succession, they are looking at the next male figure that looks to be a bright and rising star.
You're so right. In fact, one of the biggest barriers to women getting ahead is happening at recruitment and promotion, is that it's not happening at the rate that it needs to happen. But coming back to your question, this is not just a woman issue. Men need to be in the conversation as well.
So what should we be doing then?
So we should be having conversations in organizations. But as a matter of interest, I think it's two ways. I think that women need to show up differently. So I wrote a book, Play to Win, What Women Can Learn from Men in Business, a very thin book. The sequel, What Men Can Learn from Women, is going to be very, very thick. But the point that I want to make is that women need to think about how they show up in business, which is different. But
what does that mean?
What does that mean? So kind of the principles I talk about, business is a game. Don't take it personally. Ditch the small incremental moves.
Emotions.
Emotions.
We're told.
And sometimes women do tend to take things a little bit too personally. You know, so the world of work was created by men. They've perfected it. So as women, we need to embrace what we bring, which the research is telling us is very powerful. We're inclusive, we're honest, we have high levels of integrity, we are resilient, we manage risk very effectively. But we need to understand that the world of work is male-dominated, as you highlighted, and we need to embrace it. But having said that, we also need to get senior management on board to understand the power of women in the workplace, and that inclusive workplaces are happier workplaces for everybody.
You wish that company CEOs would be listening at this time of the month. Thank you very much for making the time to come talk to us. I mean, we could talk more about this, but time is against us. Thank you very much for making the time to talk to us. Donna Rachelson, she is the CEO of Branding and Marketing U.